Having the opportunity to give your voice creates a community, and it makes us feel like we're valued.
You don't just get the views of those action groups with their axes to grind.
I think citizens' assemblies are going to have a huge role in the future.
I'm originally from Jamaica, but when I was 7 years old, I moved to Birmingham and I came to Dudley. Alongside my full-time office job, I volunteer at least twice a week with young people. Being a young person in the West Midlands isn't the most easiest thing at the moment. Dudley is nice, it's friendly, but it's wasted space. On the high streets, there's a lot of charity shops, a lot of shops that you don't really want to see repeated. There's 2 Poundlands, for example. Who needs 2 big Poundlands?
I've lived in Romsey from July 2005. I've been retired now since January 2017. I like living in Romsey. Romsey's a lovely town. It's still got that market town feeling, even though it's grown slightly over the past few years. People know each other, it's friendly, you can get about easily.
I've lived in Cambridgeshire for 24 years and in Cambridge City for 23 years. I volunteer part-time with a charity and I teach music performance there. My favourite thing about living in Cambridge is that there is so much going on. We have cinemas and theatres and lectures that the public can attend.
I mostly travel around Dudley for work. I don't do personal shopping, for example, in Dudley. It's not somewhere I choose or really want to go shopping or do anything else in. Some parts of the high streets in the town's really dark, especially during winter. After work, for example, I normally ask my husband to come and meet me. I don't always feel safe. Actually, I don't feel safe.
The topics that really resonated to me was really about the connectivity of the area. This area was an area where I walked through and didn't feel connected. It just felt somehow not part of the town centre when it actually should have been. And there's a lot there that should have been made more use of.
Getting around Cambridge is quite difficult. I used to be able to get a bus every 10 minutes to Addenbrooke's Hospital, and now I have to take 2 buses and it takes me an hour to get there. Air quality is also something that I'm very passionate about. I do feel a bit like a canary in a coal mine in that I feel the effects immediately when our air quality is poor.
When I was first invited to the Assembly, I was a bit, apprehensive was probably the right word, whether we were going to be pressurised and trying to come up with some sort of solution. Was there an answer they wanted us to come up with? In fact, I was very, very pleased with the way the Assembly worked. There was no pressure at all. We were given information and only information. And then we came up with our own thoughts on what we wanted to do.
We were split into different groups on each of the 4 days. Everybody was given space to speak. Those who were more quiet were encouraged to speak, and those who spoke too much were asked to give space to others.
It was actually very nice to actually get to talk to people who had the same love of Romsey as I did. Some had only lived in Romsey for 6 months, some had lived in it their entire lives.
The way it was done helped us as individuals and as a group to strip everything apart, to tear it down to bare minimum and then put it back together like a puzzle. So that was really good because it had everyone thinking about different ways that we could do things, the resources we need, the people we need, the timeline, the scales, and that was absolutely lovely.
I was quite taken aback by how much we were in agreement by the end of it, after listening to all the speakers and having all of our discussions.
I do think citizen assemblies are a very important part of the democratic process.
Sometimes councils, they're not really aware of the lived lives of their constituents.
It's an opportunity to receive ideas. It's an opportunity from the council and the government to hear real people and the people that actually have the experience of their town, of their country.
Not action groups, not pressure groups, but the general public, chosen fairly, that match the demographic of the area. You actually are hearing the true voice of the people.
And citizens' assemblies is a brilliant way to make these really important decisions.
Listening to the people and actually taking action, not just saying and not doing, I think that will actually have a huge impact, not just for us, but for the generations to come.